Welcome to the Peak Performance and Peak Satisfaction podcast with Master Executive Coach Sherry Gregoff. Sherry helps business people perform better, get rewarded handsomely, and actually enjoy their work. After having her own career turnaround, she now helps other high-powered business professionals experience the same. Join the movement to work differently.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. Today we are discussing how to focus on wins, strengths, and benefits first to calm our fight or flight stress response. Learn this simple yet powerful brain hack to start each day and use it before evaluating your performance in work and life. In this episode, I show you how to unlock more creativity and capacity for valuable innovation and growth. Before we jump in, I want to shout out one of my clients who had a win in this area. Here's the quote from him. I was shocked to learn that I was being considered for a role at the next title in a different function. They were seeing something in me that I wasn't. When I look back at the skills and approach that make up my unique formula for success to date that Sherry helped me articulate, I start to build my own self-belief to match what others see in my potential. This client had set the goal of the next title for himself. It was less than a year into verbalizing it with his leader when she suggested an opening for that title within a different function to follow the business need. It caught him by surprise. He envisioned performing the same function where he had built his success at the firm to date. The leadership team had another plan in mind. A critical opening in another area needed a leader that could be trusted to step in and improve things. My client was top of the list. As we considered how this might be a wonderful turn of events, it helped that we had recently celebrated his wins in his career in a unique way. We mapped out the philosophy, approach, and mastered skills that were responsible for his success to date. It was an exercise of identity as much as reflecting on wins that he had racked up. It helped him objectively recognize his own leadership strengths and how they served the organization and him well. It was this very reflection that we turned to in order to calm his fears about considering a more senior role in an area new to him. By revisiting the constant in the equation, his own leadership ability and style, he calmed his nervous system about taking such a big leap and was able to more objectively and constructively evaluate the career development opportunity. This habit we had built of celebrating wins and self-awareness of what was working well helped broaden his perspective to recognize and accept the next big opportunity for growth and continued success. Similar victories are shared by all of my clients, and I have experienced it too in my own career turnaround. So let's hop to today's podcast content and get you on your way to experiencing this also. If you have been following my content or have taken a look at my website, you will see that I am methodical about celebrating client wins. Check out the first link in the show notes if you want to see what I mean. On my social, we do this once a week, and in my podcast, we kick off each episode by celebrating a client win. By sharing these with you, my audience, I aim to give you hope with regard to what is possible for all of us. Every time I share a client win, my invitation is for the listener to conclude, if they can do it, why not me? It is the ripple effect that allows individuals to perform with even more excellence while also increasing their satisfaction. The more we hear the amazing victory stories occurring, the more probable we will replicate them in our own lives. When I share client wins, I don't divulge details that could reveal anything they don't want shared or their identity, but I do tell how they boldly faced a challenge and landed on a solution, including the impact that change made for them. Borrow their wins, their ahas, their revelations for yourself. And if you could use support claiming that win in your own situation, I'm here. Part of where these client wins are created is in how I run my coaching sessions. We always begin with revisiting where we left off, the next steps agreed in the prior session. This instills accountability and keeps us on track towards their goals. I invite my client to celebrate any wins since the last time we spoke, either in carrying out actions they decided to take, new strategies they were to try, new habits they would practice, a courageous conversation they would have, and the like. Sometimes these wins are related to long-standing goals, and sometimes they are very topical to what we last worked on. Sometimes clients aren't sure if they have any wins to report, and then once they pause to reflect, the wins start pouring out of them. Sometimes none come to mind up front, but by the end of the session, they are revealed with more awareness. I thought this would be useful to point out because this practice is not something most of us are used to doing. In fact, clients may initially be stumped in trying to recollect what, in fact, has worked well or gone right. This isn't a problem. It's an opportunity to develop this muscle. Any struggles in starting this practice can in themselves be a win. I've had a client tell me that calling them wins poked at a sore competitive streak that he wasn't a fan of reinforcing, a pressure to perform and achieve that felt stress-inducing. We rebranded the activity as a gratitude check to find what he was grateful for instead, and that felt more aligned for him. Taking the time to pause, to identify the things, developments, and experiences that we're grateful for is one of the most powerful habits that you can establish for yourself. It's why I hone it as one of the first skills for my clients to master with my guidance. Today's episode will give you further insight into this practice of celebrating wins. It goes far beyond the use case that I just explained within the coaching session and in sharing client wins with you, my audience. It's a habit that can benefit all of us. Let's get into the brain science of why that is. And of course, we'll cover some practical ways to make it yours. You ready? In our work and in life in general, we are looking to grow and develop. It's one of our basic human needs, that for growth. We like to learn and improve. It keeps us interested and engaged. A key input to growth is learning from challenges and setting goals to achieve. Like my client who shied away from the term win, there is a dark side to this need for growth. It is self-judgment, an aversion to fear, an avoidance of constructive feedback. It's wanting to always be right and always receive positive external validation. It's these tendencies that can have us fairly stressed and sensitive to the unfolding circumstances around us, and even our awareness of areas where we can further develop. This stress triggers a default mode in our brains and a lower level thinking that I like to call the survival primitive brain taking over and calling the shots. The aim of this part of our brain is pure survival, and the strategy it offers is always to conserve energy, minimize risk, and repeat the status quo that's kept us alive to date. You might recognize this mode when you spot yourself slipping into fight or flight. You get negative feedback, let's say, and you want to shove back hard on that person, or avoid the situation altogether and pretend like it never happened, or better yet, find a new job to not have to face it. This fight or flight state doesn't help us grow. It keeps us limited to where we are now with the skills and knowledge we already gathered. So whether we are about to coach together, or you are about to go into your performance review, or you're powering up your computer for the day, Being in this state of fight or flight will keep you from spotting and embracing the very opportunities to grow and get exactly what you want in terms of outcomes and results in your career. Examples may include the broader scope, promotion, increased compensation, more flexibility, or more autonomy in your role. Let's pause here. Did you catch that? This fight or flight routine helps us survive, but also keeps us locked in to where we are now, or worse, in terms of our level of development and quality of life. One brain hack to keeping yourself out of this survival mode is to celebrate wins. Before we turn to goals or challenges, we must do the step of celebrating what is working well, what has been positive, how we are benefiting, and the impact. This single step calms our nervous system so that we stay in our higher level thinking with access to more creativity and innovative ideas. When we don't do this step of celebrating and feeling gratitude, we miss recognizing the milestones. We miss the opportunity to build momentum. As a result, we may feel like we keep trying to lift a boulder uphill because we don't even realize how far we have come. Let's walk through specific times when you can use this brain hack and exactly how to do it. First, starting your day. This is a good framework for your everyday. If you're anything like me, my default start to the day was anxiety. From the moment I would start to regain consciousness from the night of sleep, my first thought was, what day is it? If it was a weekday, the worries and to-do items would start to bubble up in my mind. Right on cue, I would start to hear audible acid bubbling in my stomach. The dread would wash over me, and I would hit the snooze button and pull up the covers to hide and to stay where it was safe. I would only emerge from bed when it was the last possible moment to get my morning routine done before bursting into the office. My early rising kids might storm my bed, and I would groggily and reluctantly be pulled into my day. I would immediately step into reactive mode, taking orders from the clock, family members' needs, and straight into coworkers' needs. I would clutch the coffee cup tightly, my elixir to survive that harrowing start to the day. My day would take me. I was pulled or dragged through it. It wasn't pleasant. The dread was very real. A few years ago now, I switched up my morning playbook to great effect. Let me tell you how I did it. When that first thought of the demands of me came up, right when I opened my eyes, before I could hear the audible effect of my anxiety in the form of stomach acid, I would interrupt the pattern and switch gears. I would direct my brain to start in gratitude. What was I grateful for? My husband in bed next to me or exercising downstairs, my kids sleeping peacefully in their rooms, my health to have this gift of another day of this life, the sun rising, a job that I chose as my preferred work, an office with people I enjoy, an easy commute. I actually challenged myself to find all the things. What happened yesterday that I was grateful for? In what ways were things going well? How was what I was doing working well? This was a daily practice. For a while, the dread always popped into my mind first before I quickly redirected my brain to wins and gratitude. Then I noticed that my first automatic thought in the morning upon waking up became gratitude. I didn't have to work at it. It was my new automatic routine. From that place, I would wake up early enough to give myself alone time before the demands of the day. I made time for prayer, movement, silent mindfulness by myself. Many times, it was while watching the sunrise. That brain hack of turning to wins first set the stage for productivity and effective problem solving. By the time I turned to my kids, I could be present for breakfast, rather than racing us through the morning like a drill sergeant. I could gracefully problem solve the everyday mini catastrophes that slip into getting a family out the door for a school day. I even carved out time to have coffee and no agenda with my husband, rather than sucking it down while I sped to the office running behind schedule. This new routine to start my day let me turn to my work, grounded in my higher level thinking, well primed before turning to the challenges of the day. I realize now that my default mode throughout the day previously had been fight or flight. I was often dysregulated. Here is how to spot this. Intense reactions. If I spilled my coffee in the car, I would fly off the handle. It would sour me on the day. If my child didn't prepare what he needed for school, and it delayed us such that he would be late for school and I would be late for work, I would come down hard and with a punitive or shaming edge. If I was bombarded before I even made it to my desk with fire drills at work, I would resent my job and react impatiently. It's natural for us to be in reactive mode, playing defense, when we haven't taken excellent care of ourselves and primed our mental state before going into the day. If there is a single most meaningful place to use this strategy of celebrating wins first, it is in your morning routine, before you start interacting with others, and before you start taking on the demands of the day. This is a precious opportunity to direct the day with your own energy. This is how we take the day by storm. This is how we get grounded and set ourselves up for success. From the moment your eyes open, direct your brain to find the wins, to cultivate gratitude, calm your nervous system, and upshift from a survival mode to higher level thinking that allows you to thrive instead. The second most important opportunity to apply this practice of celebrating wins is when evaluating performance. This could be in your own self-assessment as part of a formal performance review at work, or it could be when evaluating performance of one of your team members. It might even be closing out a normal workday and taking stock of what you would do differently tomorrow. We start with the wins first for a couple of reasons. It boosts your confidence. It grounds you in facts. It establishes positive reinforcement and creates belief in yourself, or your employee in the case of their review. This sets the tone of calmness and sufficiency. By celebrating your strengths and what is working well, you set a solid foundation. No need for panic, fight, or flight. We have a solid start here that is positive. Nothing has gone wildly wrong. We are taking a good thing and now building upon it. We are complete and have everything we need. So next, we can choose to creatively consider what could work better. This is the ideal place from which to do an assessment and identify opportunities for improvement. If we think things are broken, or we are hopeless, or the situation is doomed, our brain will be in such a state of dysregulation that it couldn't possibly think clearly. It will reject important and impactful information in an effort towards self-preservation. This is when we might reject constructive feedback, dispute it, get angry, defensive, or even combative, read, fight. We may be dismissive, withdraw, go silent, look to end the conversation as quickly as possible, read, flight. This happens when receiving constructive feedback from others, but even when experiencing our own self-judgment. Some of us are our own worst critics, am I right? We ruminate in our missteps. We fixate on perfection. Every perceived failure is a setback, a black mark. We can trigger our own fight or flight response. So what do we do instead? Whether your manager does this or not, you begin with what is working well and your strengths in everything you do. When you assess your own performance over a performance period or in any workday, start by celebrating the wins. When we skip this part, we tend to beat ourselves up, underestimate our value, and never fully own our leadership identity. When we start here every time, we calm our nervous system, and then we can get curious and creative about where we can grow. We are able to seek out and even actively solicit the feedback that helps us target our development areas in which to grow. When we are defensive and just trying to survive, we can't appreciate these opportunities to grow. We avoid taking risks to further develop and lead because we already feel that we're on shaky ground. I think of all my clients who are doing big things, taking big swings in their businesses, betting on themselves and going all in. This is only possible because they shored up their foundation. They found sufficiency in themselves and in their situation. Then they are ready to give their best and their highest level thinking to grow their capability and skills, to expand their impact and create transformation in every area they touch. This hack helps us tap an entirely new source of creativity and willingness to experiment, to grow and succeed. Let's cover a third and final time to use this same brain hack. At the end of the workday, or at the end of your entire day, it's a beautiful time to reflect on your wins. What went well? What are you grateful for? What are you proud of? I speak to so many high-performing business people who sign off their day rehearsing their jam-packed schedule for the next day or pining over their to-do list. Don't do it. Instead, reflect on what's working well. This is a great way to tie the day in a bow and close it out. If it invited ideas on what to adjust to make tomorrow even better, welcome it. Not as a problem to be fixed, but a way to make tomorrow even better if you make that small tweak. The end of the day is a great time to celebrate some wins and give yourself some credit. It's how we stay off the hamster wheel of chasing a never-ending to-do list or searching for peace from a completed workload that won't ever actually happen. Create your own closure with this routine of closing the day with gratitude and celebration, and perhaps ideas for growth and positive change in how you approach tomorrow. You can rest your head on your pillow, having patted yourself on the back for your effort, both where it panned out just as you hoped, and in those instances where you learned valuable feedback for how to iterate ahead of your next go at it. This is exactly what we are aiming for, going for it, having your own back whether it worked out or not. Going to sleep having taken the swing, used your talents, put forth your best effort, and showing up in a way that you can be proud of. That's all we need for strong closure of a day well spent. Not perfection, not the lack of any open tasks or asks, but progress and gratitude for that progress. As high-powered business professionals, we are in it for the long game. We are creating and selling businesses, making investments for the next generation of our business, harvesting years of credibility and expertise. To do this well, we take excellent care of ourselves, including actively managing our minds. Celebrating wins first is a simple way to do that, to override the emergency mode in your brain that can accidentally be triggered, and when left unaddressed, can become a chronic state of fight or flight. No worries. This is a routine that can always be reprogrammed, no matter how long it's been in place. It starts one day at a time. One morning practice, one performance review, one end-of-day routine. Then you do it again, until this new habit becomes part of how you carry yourself, how you lead every effort to evaluate, learn, and grow. In your business, in your career, and in your personal life. Imagine a scenario where you are working and living in celebration. It may sound hard to imagine at first. I know it was for me when I was living fire drill to fire drill, riding the snooze button and overreacting to every twist in my day. It is so possible for all of us to upshift into that celebration, that higher level thinking, with one brain hack that becomes a new habit embedded in our routine, and then a mastered skill, then part of our identity, then part of our legacy as it is lived on in our businesses, teams, and families. It's eloquent, really. One simple, doable step that is accessible to all of us. Untapped creativity, unlocked for us all. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Let's discuss this in our next coaching session. If you aren't a client, drop me your thoughts on this episode in the final link in the show notes by private message. I read them all, and I welcome your input. We are on this journey together. Every tool we add to your toolkit, every step you take forward, brings you closer to that peak performance and peak satisfaction we aim for around here. Enjoy this one. It's celebrating after all. We can work and live in the celebration of it all. What a more satisfying and successful way to experience what we do day in and day out. Every single time I coach someone, I am reminded why I chose this profession and why I love my craft. I celebrate their growth. I celebrate my growth in serving these leaders. There is no better way to use my talent and leave my mark. This type of celebration is exactly my wish for you. It's possible for you, friend. I help you find it. The world is a better place when filled with people who love their work and love their life and are growing themselves and their impact all the time. That is worth celebrating. Until next time.
Looking for support in applying the principles and strategies in today's episode? Sherry coaches clients one-on-one as their trusted confidant and advisor, helping each client create the work and life they had only dreamed of. To schedule your complimentary career strategy session, go to sherrygregoff.com/apply to book time with her today. It's one simple step that can change everything.